Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We now know the identity of a man found dead in a South Fargo home. Fargo police say 61-year-old Ronald Gant is the man who was found dead last Friday in the 1800 block of 30th Avenue South. Fargo police officers responded to the home on a report of a deceased man who had been badly burned. The homeowner had returned home from a vacation and found her roommate, Gant, in the basement with severe burns from a fire that was contained to the basement. The cause of the fire and the death are still under investigation.
It's about time that this would be in policy.
It was a rare, but lawmakers might say necessary, vote in the Minnesota House. They unanimously agreed that if you are married and you rape your spouse, it's a crime. Right now, in many cases, it's not. Spouses and domestic partners have used it as a defense, shielding them from prosecution. Valley News Team's Maddie Gelseth looks into this bill and tells us what's on the books in North Dakota.
There are a dozen states, including Minnesota and Iowa, that say spousal rape isn't illegal.
I was shocked to find out that such an exemption even existed.
Lawmakers in the Minnesota House felt the same way too. They passed a bill, 130-0, that states, if you rape your spouse, it's considered criminal sexual conduct.
I'm hoping that it's going to receive unanimous support in the Senate as well. I strongly support it.
He says it's about time this exemption is eliminated because it'll change many people's lives.
We're recognizing that just because you're married to someone doesn't mean that they're your property.
In North Dakota, your marital status doesn't protect you against raping or sexual assaulting your significant other, making it illegal to do so. And Minnesota is working to follow in North Dakota's footsteps.
It wouldn't matter what the relationship is. A rape is a rape. Sexual assault is sexual assault, and would be treated with the same seriousness and severity that other types of sexual assault would.
Senator Eakins says he hopes this bill will draw enough attention to change the minds of those 11 states who say marital rape isn't illegal.
It's the state policymakers' responsibility to make sure that laws reflect back to us what values that we find important in a marriage or any kind of union between people.
In Fargo, Maddie Gelseth, Valley News Live.
The bill is currently in a judicial committee, and from there it will go to the Minnesota Senate. Feels good outside, pretty good anyway, both in terms of the temperature and the sunshine. Hutch, what does this evening look like?
Well, I got to tell you, just take a look at our tower cam here from the Valley Sky Cam, looking down on Interstate 94, and the crew's doing an amazing job. It is dry through much of the FM area on the interstate, still a little on the bypasses and off ramps. And I got to say that I wish my driveway looked as clear. For tonight, we have clear skies with the exception of northern Minnesota. Temperatures, well, they'll slowly slip down this evening thanks to a little bit of a southwest breeze at 5 to 10 miles per hour. So bring that coat. It's going to be wind chilly, of course. Same thing in Grand Forks, only sub-zero temperatures by the time we get to the early overnight hours. It looks like another chilly start to your day on Thursday. I'll have details on that. And for many of you, you might feel like me, more winter ridiculousness is going to continue as we head into the weekend, and I'll tell you all about it here in a few minutes.
It's going so well. You didn't need to add that part in.
Just heads up.
I know.
Yes.
I know. Thanks, Hutch. 2 Grand Forks men are facing felony charges after police say they stole more than $1,000 worth of items from a Walmart in Grand Forks. Court documents state that Bruce Ostrang and Michael Bjornson loaded several items into a cart and made their way to the back of the store near the auto department. Then, according to police, the 2 men forced open a door and started unloading items into a vehicle, not paying for a thing. More than $32,000 worth of fake iPhones were confiscated at the Pembina port of entry. Border crossing authorities say someone tried to smuggle 39 counterfeit cell phones into the country last month. The phones look like the one on your screen. Authorities say foreign companies make billions of dollars illegally when counterfeit products are brought into the U.S. A Fargo man is facing a felony theft charge after authorities say he stole a semi-truck filled with Oreo cookies. According to court documents, 27-year-old John Crowell stole the semi at Northport Hornbacher store last November. The Bismarck Tribune reports that the semi's driver told police he left the vehicle running while he went into the store to fill out some paperwork. When he returned 5 minutes later, the semi was nowhere to be found. The semi and trailer are valued at $9,000. A Moorhead police officer later arrested Crowell.
whoever else is in charge of those documents is not my concern. My concern is I know lawyers that would go to jail before they would violate attorney-client privilege. And in a matter of a second, you just said, absolutely, I will turn those over.
Just trying to cooperate, sir.
At the expense of clients who have never waived privilege.
A day of high drama on Capitol Hill, where President Trump's former personal attorney delivered public testimony to lawmakers. Natalie Brand reports on Michael Cohen's explosive language about the president.
Michael Cohen turned on his former boss, saying he regrets the day he first went to work for Donald Trump.
I am ashamed because I know what Mr. Trump is. He is a racist, he is a con man, and he is a cheat.
Testifying under oath, Cohen said President Trump reimbursed him for payments to cover up an affair with porn star Stormy Daniels.
Lying to the First Lady is one of my biggest regrets because she is a kind, good person, and I respect her greatly.
He also said during the presidential campaign that candidate Trump knew ahead of time about WikiLeaks releasing damaging emails about Hillary Clinton. And he alleged Mr. Trump knew of and directed plans for a Trump Tower in Moscow throughout his 2016 campaign and lied about it. Complicating his testimony, Cohen has pleaded guilty to lying to Congress in the past, which brought a stern warning from the committee chairman.
We will not tolerate lying to this Congress.
And attacks from the right.
You're about to go to prison for lying. How can we believe anything you say?
Republicans fought fiercely to stop Cohen from testifying, calling the disbarred attorney a fraudster and a cheat.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one should ever listen to you and give you credibility.
Cohen answered the onslaught with his own accusation.
I did the same thing that you're doing now for 10 years. I protected Mr. Trump for 10 years.
President Trump is at a summit with North Korea, but weighed in on Twitter, saying Cohen is lying to reduce his prison time. And Natalie Brand, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Cohen reports to prison in May to serve a 3-year sentence. When asked if there's other wrongdoing that Cohen is aware of but hasn't been discussed, Cohen said yes, that they're part of the investigations being looked at by the Southern District of New York. The Minnesota legislature is bracing for its first hearing this session on the contentious issue of gun control. The House Public Safety Committee hearing is set for 7 o'clock tonight at the Capitol. The committee will hear testimony on a bill to require universal criminal background checks for people who buy guns. They'll also hear about a bill to let families and police petition courts to temporarily remove guns from people who might pose a threat to themselves or others. A warning tonight from Xcel Energy. They want you to make sure your gas meters and other gas-related equipment are free of snow. So they're showing us so we can show you what to look for and how to do it. An official with Xcel says his crews are getting half a dozen calls every night from homeowners and businesses needing help with this very crucial snow removal project. And he says the fire departments in the metro area are getting calls for help as well. All the snow we've had and the snow drifts are creating what could turn out to be a very dangerous situation if you don't take care of it and do it carefully.
It can lead to some raw gas in the house if their appliances aren't operating effectively. It can lead to the pilot lights going out and then them losing heat. So it's both a safety issue and as well as a comfort, convenience, and the whole neighborhood can be affected just based on one hit meter of people clearing snow.
Nisbet also says when the snow starts to melt, you'll want to make sure that long-awaited for sign of spring doesn't end up getting on the meter. Students and staff were evacuated from a Minnesota school when officials feared its roof could collapse. Those faculty and children were released around noon today at Gage Elementary School in Rochester. Officials say earlier this morning, a custodian noticed ceiling tiles beginning to bow. They later determined heavy snow on the roof could be to blame. Aerials captured staff blowing snow off the roof to lighten the load. There's no word yet if school will be in session tomorrow. Due to the forecasted cold weather and dangerous wind chills, the 5th annual Northland Fat Bike Rally at Lake Bemidji State Park on Saturday, March 2nd, has been canceled. The event will not be rescheduled. The main event was to kick off with a morning mass starting on Lake Bemidji and then heading into Lake Bemidji State Park and then up the Rocky Point Trail. Officials say the new Fargo dispensary is now scheduled to open this Friday after a one-day delay. The director of the Division of Medical Marijuana says they apologize for any inconvenience. The one-day delay in opening may cause qualifying patients and designated caregivers. The dispensary will open at 10 a.m. on Friday, March 1st. Mark your calendars. On Friday, the historic downtown Moorhead Dairy Queen will be opening for its 70th year. Moorhead Mayor Jonathan Judd has named March 1st Historic Moorhead Dairy Queen Day. And while making sure your ice cream is made to order, getting to know their customers is at the top of this Dairy Queen's list.
It's kind of interesting because our co-workers will see someone walking up and we'll make it because we know what they're going to order, and they get up here and it's all ready for them, and they just love that.
Yes, we do. To celebrate their 70th year, they will be offering 70-cent cones and 70-cent dilly bars all day.